Shalom, Baruch Haba, Ani Anthony. Hello and welcome. I'm Anthony. Thank you so much for joining us here again at Sarid for our weekly Torah teaching on the coming of Adonai Yahushua HaMashiach. If I could take a minute now, I'd like to give all praise, honor, and esteem to Yahuwah Elohim for the great wisdom and understanding He has given us in His Word to share with you concerning the Song of Mosheh, the servant of Yahuwah, and the Song of the Lamb, Adonai Yahushua HaMashiach. To the Kodashim out there, I trust that all is well with you. Thank you so much for your comments and for your support. If you are joining us here for the first time, I recommend that you go back and watch the orientation videos, Orientation 1 and Orientation 2. I'm sure they will answer any questions you might have concerning how we look at Scripture here and what the Word of Yahuwah says. And now that we are assembled, join with us now as we look to the Song of Mosheh to gain insight and clarity from the written account concerning the foundation of the world's most powerful religion, when it got started, and who started it, and what is to befall the people who follow it. Let's take a look now. Devarim chapter 32, we'll begin the Song of Mosheh in verse 36 this week, followed by the witness. Over in Yochanan chapter 19, we'll be looking at 11 and 12. For Yahuwah will judge his people. Yahushua answered, "You could have no power at all against me unless it had been given you from above." So as we begin the survey on this line, how beautiful is the word of Yahuwah for the Song of Mosheh, had it not been given from above. And in the line of survey, Yahuwah is above being noted in Devarim. For Yahuwah will judge his people. Yahuwah here begins to judge his people. The word for judge, H1777, is din. Means to judge, means to contend and plead. All this is going to happen in the coming lines to survey. Yahuwah is going to act as judge to execute judgment. And that's what these lines of survey are all about in this part of the Song of Mosheh. The word for judge also means to execute judgment, requite, and vindicate. We will look at these three in particular in executing this judgment. First, requite. Requite means to make appropriate return for a favor, service, or wrongdoing. All three of those. This is seen in the response down in Yochanan. Yahuwah is the judge, and Yahushua responds to Pilatus saying, "You could have no power at all against me unless it had been given you from above." By recognizing where Yahuwah dwells, he returns to Yahuwah for favor with this statement, for his service as the Nazir and the wrongdoing they have done because of it. He has submitted to the Yuta, and they have turned him over to the Roman authorities. To Pilatus, who is Latin, he says, "You could have no power at all against me unless it had been given you from above." And lastly, the word for judge means to vindicate. And this we will see play out in the rest of the survey. This is the judgment of Yahuwah. It's executing judgment. Notice here it says Yahuwah is going to judge. Then it says his people. His people. This is not Yahuwah's people coming under this judgment. He's not going to do that to them. They're not going to have a hand in this special operation. This is for all the marbles here, if you will. His here for the line to survey is the one Yahushua is speaking to in the verse. This is Pilatus. Yahushua says, you could have no power at all against me unless it had been given you from above. These are the Roman people. Specifically, as I mentioned, those of Latin origin. This is the makeup of Pilatus. We know them as the Roman Catholics today. Who is going to judge those people? So if you are Roman Catholic and all of Christianity is of this sort, go ahead and cross yourself up and drink 3 Hail Marys, because the judgment is going to be severe. Notice the power that Pilatus has is against Yahushua. The power is against him and not over him. Against means in opposition to, in anticipation of, and preparation for a problem or difficulty, a time of trouble, if you will. The Greek word used there is G2596, kata, meaning according to or down from. This is something that is going to be given from above to Pilatus, a political leader residing over the spiritual affairs of B'nai Yisrael. This power is in the likeness of Yahushua. It is given, G1325, the Domi. It is used meaning to supply and furnish necessary things, to give over to one's care, to entrust and commit something to be administered and religiously observed. And this goes deeper in the definition, meaning to cause to come forth, i.e., as the sea, death, and hell are said to give up the dead who have been engulfed or received by them. This sounds familiar. It is used in Chazon, Revelation chapter 20, verse 13. You go there and read it when you get a chance. This should bring more clarity to the whole of exactly what Yahuwah is going to do to his people, Pilatus's people, those people who follow the Latin kingdom. So the warning here is to start making some changes. And have compassion on his servants. Therefore, the one who delivered me to you has the greater sin. Yahuwah, having judged the people of the Latin kingdom, now his servants are identified. These are the servants of Yahuwah. His servants come to the forefront for vindication. This is how Yahuwah will judge his own people. Vindication. As already noted in the very top line of survey, as it reads, Yahuwah will judge. Vindication was a word that described the word for judge, deen. Vindication is the action of clearing someone of blame or suspicion. This now begins to happen as we survey the lines. Here in the line for Devarim, it reads, and have compassion on his servants. Nacham, the word for compassion, H6152, means to comfort oneself, to be comforted, to ease oneself. This is both on the giver and the receiver. Yahuwah has the compassion on his servants and not all of the people from the lines above, because all of the people are not serving Yahuwah, although they may think they are. Compassion is on his servants. It is nothing Yahuwah has to give. It is already on them, and they know it. We see an example of it. It is on them. It is here on display down in Yochanan. The servants of Yahuwah can be seen in the statement Yahushua makes. There are two servants. Yahushua is one. He is speaking, seen as me in the verse. And the other is the one who delivered Yahushua to Pilatus. This is one of the Yuta. The compassion is on Yahushua because of what he says concerning the sin of the Yuta, the other servant of Yahuwah. He says, therefore, the one who delivered me to you has the greater sin. He's talking to Pilatus. Nacham, the word for compassion, means to comfort oneself, to be comforted, to ease oneself. He comforted himself and put himself at ease with that statement. He has done nothing wrong. This is a display of the compassion that was on him. He knew it, according to the definition for compassion. He put himself at ease there. How beautiful is the word, the written word of Yahuwah. And here is more compassion. What he says here makes a lot of sense, because the Yuta have given Pilatus nothing to justify any wrongdoing they accused Yahushua of. He was a servant of the servants. H5650, Ebed is a servant, a worshiper of Yahuwah, in the special sense as a Nabi, a prophet, if you will, or one of the Lewaim, a servant of Yisrael. Yah has compassion on them. When he sees that their power is gone. From then on, Pilatus sought to release him. This is still more compassion on the servant of Yahuwah. Yahushua being in total submission, his power subdued, Pilatus sought to release him. This is still more vindication playing out in the survey lines from the word for judge, Dean, in the very top line of survey here on the screen. When he sees that their power is gone. When he sees that their power is gone. In other words, when he sees the bribe is no longer being sought by Pilatus and the Yuta. Pilatus at this point has changed his mind, and the power to promote the religious leader's agenda to kill Yahushua is being viewed by him in another light. Power, unparalleled. Although he was the one who gave power to this whole dastardly agenda by bringing up the bribe to exchange Yahushua for Barabakta in the first place. Instead, he is now seeking to release him. Yahuwah sees this now, as it is recorded and seen here in the written account of the line to survey, because he sought to release him. Zeteo, G2212, means to seek. in order to find out. By thinking, meditating, reasoning, to inquire into. This is another agenda here. He sought this because of the compassion that was on Yahushua from the line above. In the statements that he made, it had Pilatus thinking. And this coupled with that Ben of Yahuwah statement that the Utah made from the last video has raised suspicion. And he has become leery of the Utah. But even more than all of that is the fact that Pilatus has become power hungry. You see it in the survey lines. The word power is seen from both Devarim and Yochanan. This type of power in the hands of someone who already has both political and religious persuasion is a recipe for the release of something more than he and his people bargained for. That's why he sought to release him. Very important there. He was meditating and reasoning about something more lofty than what the Utah has in mind. So he wants to release Yahushua, detain him no longer. All of this conversation is playing out according to the lyrics in the Song of Mosheh here. Yahushua's words were starting to make more sense to him. So from then on, Pilatus has a change of heart. And it is not all good. So the Utah's power is gone. Pilatus was the one who started this, and now he has sought to release him, trying to figure out how he can do that. However, in a future generation to come, someone like this will release something in the likeness of Yahushua. They are likely reasoning and meditating on it right now. This release, as I have mentioned, has prophetic insight into the nature of the one that is to come. It will be in the likeness of Yahushua, a Nazir, if you will, because of what Pilatus sought. Yahuwah sees it. It is perceived in his vision, an apparition, if you will, right here on the survey line. Very important. And there is no one remaining bond or free. But the Utah cried out, saying, if you let this man go, you are not Kaiser's friend. Whoever makes himself a king speaks against Kaiser. And there is no one remaining. No one remaining in on the bride any longer. This is seen in Yochanan as the Utah now have to take another approach. Pilatus has changed his mind, and now they make a statement that lets us know here for the written account that there is no one remaining. As I said, meaning no one remaining in on the bride. The goal is the same here. The motives are now different. You see it in the verse. The Utah cried out saying, if you let this man go, you are not Kaiser's friend. Whoever makes himself a king speaks against Kaiser. So it's a power play here. Yahushua is the one bound. He also is part of no one remaining, seen as the man in the verse. He's the reason for the bride. Without him, all of this goes away. And the Utah cried out saying, if you let this man go, you are not Kaiser's friend. The words of Mosheh's song clearly reveal the man as bond. From the line in Devarim, H6113, Atzar means to be restrained, be stayed, be under restraint, retained. If you let this man go, he is no longer bond. In other words, if he makes bail, you are not Kaiser's friend. Kaiser means severed. This is a Latin dude. We know him as Caesar today. You see the sever in the verse concerning Kaiser. One is bound, or one is bond. If you let this man go, you are not Kaiser's friend. Word is bond. And the other is free. This is the separation, free to choose, seen in the statement as it reads, whoever makes himself a king speaks against Kaiser. Devarim chapter 32, verse 37 will line up with Yochanan chapter 19, verse 13. He will say, where are their mighty ones? When Pilatus therefore heard that saying, he brought Yahushua out and sat down in the judgment seat. Yahuwah, in his judgment of the Goim, raises a question here. Where are the mighty ones? H410 is Elohim. It's plural. Where are they? Supernatural beings, messengers, also rulers and judges. Where are they? Yochanan records, when Pilatus therefore heard that saying, he brought Yahushua out and sat down in the judgment seat. He sits down in the judgment seat. He and that judgment seat being the mighty ones in the verse. The two are used in overseeing the execution of Yahushua. Pilatus, the man, and his seat of authority show up in answer to the question, where are their mighty ones? He brought Yahushua out, sat down in the judgment seat, so there they are. Notice again, Pilatus brought Yahushua out. Then he sat down in the judgment seat. He brought him out. That word for brought, ego, G71, means to lead. It is used of leading away to a court of justice. The word also means to move, to impel. It is used of forces and influences on the mind. And lastly, to pass a day, to keep or celebrate a feast. All of this is in play at the same time. This word is not only referencing his bringing Yahushua out for this particular time, but it has an eerie understanding that is sinister in the definition, moving and leading to something else. The reference is this political leader residing over the spiritual affairs of Yisrael is going to do this again at a future time. He's going to bring out something like Yahushua to keep and celebrate a feast this time. People will believe it is him. This will be the influence on the mind by unseen forces. He brought him out, and then Pilatus sat down. G253, kathezo, means to set down. Also, it means to appoint. To confer a kingdom on one is in the definition. How about that one? He brought Yahushua out. However, something else is being set down by Pilatus. We already know what's on his mind. The word of Yahuwah is overseeing this occurrence. Yahuwah said, where are their mighty ones? and Pilatus heard it. He has this idea in his head now. A kingdom is being conferred. And he's setting it up because of the word for judgment seat. G968 is Bema. It is a step, a raised place, mounted by steps, a platform or tribune. He is taking steps to set up this official seat of a judge, judging spiritual affairs. The question is raised in the top line of survey. Yahuwah says, where are their mighty ones? This Latin leader is taking steps to deliver one. Yahushua here for the written account, and later something like Yahushua for the final judgment of this account. He's going to bring him out too. He will be the cause of it. What is going on in these verses is a foreshadow of the very first Pope. He even has a seat of authority and still passing judgment on what he has brought out concerning Yahushua. They may not know it, but the idea of the office of the Pope and what he does is spiritually connected right here. They claim in their history Shimon Petrus was the very first Pope in their roots of papal succession. Mosheh is singing about the origin of what they will eventually establish as a result of this time until the Nazir returns. It's right here. It is being conferred to them right here by Yahuwah. Where are their mighty ones? This covers thousands of years and many popes. Where are they? Well, you can go online and see them. They all have power, both political and religious. They all have a seat of authority, and they are armed with a spear, the meaning of Pilatus. The spear is called the papal ferula. Looks just like a spear, and they all bear witness of someone other than Yahushua. It is someone that they have brought out, after they have made a few changes behind closed doors, of course. The rock in which they sought refuge. In a place that is called the pavement, but in Hebrew, Gabata. The rock, Sur is a rock, among other things. This is seen down in Yochanan as a place that is called the pavement. G3038 is Lithostratus. It is a place spread and paved with stones. It was near the Praetorian. This word for pavement is found nowhere else in the Brit Hadashah. It only shows here for the witness of Yochanan, for the song of Mosheh. This place was the rock in which they sought refuge. The courtyard, or courthouse, if you will. It was where they go to justify what they wanted. Apparently, this makes it right in the eyes of the Most High. Go to court. They sought refuge. That word there, H2620, is chashah. Chashah means to seek refuge, to flee for protection. It is figuratively used, meaning to put trust in a mighty one, to confide and hope in it. There's a spiritual thing going on here in this courtroom. The Utah had their hopes on this earthly expectation to put Yahushua to death. This is what they sought, a high place of authority. The refuge is seen down in Yochanan when it says, but in Ibrit, Gabata. They sought refuge in the Ibrit understanding of it. They did not call it the Greek word identifying the rock, lithostratus. They had to have an Ibrit understanding so that they could identify with it. This is the refuge. Gabata, the thing they trusted. Gabata, G1042, is an elevated or raised platform. The route takes you first to the Aramaic and the time of their impression on the Ibrit writing, on that word. Before the Ibrit origin can be identified in the root word etymology box, when you go there and clicking on things, you'll find that. In the Ibrit, the rock in which they sought refuge is named after the platform where the actual judgment occurred and not the rock, the pavement. Judgment occurred, not the rock or the pavement that led up to the platform. They had the Gabata is talking about the platform. In other words, it is different parts of the same place. The whole place is called the pavement, and everybody knew where this was. Yahuwah recognized the rock for the Song of Mosheh, but notice he recognized it in the form of a question. That's because the root of Gabbatha, H1354, Gab, it is a convex surface bound for illicit worship and figuratively used of bulwarks and breastworks of arguments, things you do in a courtroom, which defines exactly what the Utah were doing, making an argument for illicit worship. They took refuge there as well. Devarim chapter 32, verse 38 will line up with Yochanan chapter 19, verse 14 and 15. Who ate the fat of their sacrifices. Now it was the preparation day of the Pesach, about the 6th hour. Who ate the fat of their sacrifices. This is why Yahuwah asked the questions. Where are their mighty ones? The rock in which they sought refuge. It was because all mighty ones have sacrifices that are offered by their subjects or followers. The sacrifices are given to please the mighty one who required it. It is the foundation of a person's belief, whatever that might be. And there are many mighty ones out there. Everyone is worshiping something, whether they believe it or not. It can be seen by the fact, H2459, Caleb is fat, the choicest or best part, whatever it is they like to do, the abundance of the products of the land. In this case, it is the Pesach, the preparation day for it. The Pesach is the best part of the land. It was commanded by Yahuwah to be kept for sacrifice. H2077 is Zabach. And Zabach is a sacrifice. The verb is used of supernatural judgment. And the judgment is drawing near already, about the 6th hour. This is the fatness of the sacrifice. And drink the wine of their drink offering. And he said to the Utah, behold your king. Here the Utah's mighty one speaks, drinking the wine of their drink offering. The word for drink is figuratively used of drinking the cup of Yahuwah's wrath, of slaughter, a slaughter of wicked deeds. This is the same drink that Shimon Petrus had in one of the earlier videos. He drank wine, yayin, from an unused root meaning to effervesce, bubbly. So something has come up, a toast, if you will, a lifting of the glass, so to speak, a drink offering. And he lifts up the statement below saying, behold your king. The Greek word for behold is as spiritual in its definition as the drink offering seen in Devarim and the words that go with it down in Yochanan, spoken by Pilatus. It is all spiritual on every level. Something very powerful and climactic is going on in these verses that have everlasting damnation attached to it. He is indeed drinking the wine of their drink offering. Behold your king. There's something going on in the high places that they have neither discerned nor have knowledge of. They are being misled in their mind to be in rebellion to Yahuwah in every way. And this is what false teachers have done in these latter days. Taught people to be in rebellion to Yahuwah during appointed times. There's more going on than meets the eye here. Let them rise and help you. But they cried out, away with him. Stake him. Let them rise and help you. No chance that Pilatus is going to do that. The word for rise here is kum. H6965 means to rise, to arise, and come on the scene. To arise in a hostile sense. To arise and become powerful. To take a stand to confirm and establish something. Let them rise and help you. All of this can be seen in the witness of Yochanan. This is the reason for the Pesach. This is the reason the Pesach was instituted in the first place. It was that time when the Goi, the Gentiles, seen as Pilatus and his people with their influence, come on the scene and rise up in a hostile sense to take a stand for their beliefs and become more powerful than the people of Yahuwah, so that he can deliver them during this time. Let them rise up and help you. When they do this, then it will help you. They misunderstood. They didn't do that. Instead, they cried out, away with him, stake him. That's what they said. So instead, this is the Utah who have come on the scene and have become more powerful than the word of Yahuwah during the Pesach, and are in rebellion against the one thing that was designed to deliver the people. They are the ones who rise up in a hostile sense. You see the hostility in the verse. Away with him, away with him. The word for away is G142. Iro, it is spelled just like the word air. It means to rise up, elevate, and lift up. Yahuwah said, let them do that. Let them rise up. Instead, they say this word that means to rise up in a hostile sense. The definition goes on to say, to bear away what has been raised in order to carry off. Away with him. When they took a stand to confirm, then they took a stand to confirm something and establish something, according to the definition for kum, seen when they said staking. Staking. They took a stand right there. This too is hostile and done in a very powerful way. Emotion is in hostility. So from this it appears that the only person of Hebrew origin who was following all the rules for the Pesach is Yahushua. They have done all of this to him, and he is looking for the deliverance of Yahuwah. They are rising up against him. He's looking for the deliverance of Yahuwah after this judgment on the Gentiles that he will give him. The deliverance is the deliverance of all deliverances. And he in turn will open the door for us. This is done for the Hebrew people first. And he is the only Hebrew person there. So what they do here will not help them. They were supposed to let them rise up so Yahuwah could help you. And be your refuge. Pilatus said to them, shall I stake your king? The chief Kohanim answered, we have no king but Kaiser. So there it is. More damnation for that nation. And this is it, last straw. And be your refuge. Sethar is a covering, shelter, a hiding place, secrecy. The idea for the Pesach was to take refuge in the house until the supernatural judgment of Yahuwah has passed over. All of this is spiritual. Pilatus said to them, shall I stake your king? The chief Kohanim answered, we have no king but Kaiser. Nothing secret about that. All of this is spiritual as well. Their heart is on display here. Keeping the Pesach does them no good. They didn't even recognize Yahuwah or anything supernatural for that matter. They recognized Kaiser, a Latin word that means severed. So yes, it's a final straw. They're cut off. Cut off. Amen. Their king is severed, and so are they. Yahuwah will not have compassion on the Latin kingdom or any spin-offs as a result of their evil and wicked spiritual understanding. Catholicism, however, is big on compassion. They have compassion for every abomination in the scripture. They even have compassion for the wicked. Compassion is a good ploy from a political standpoint because it is all inclusive. And anyone can get it while they continue doing evil and never repent. But regardless of what Christianity says, keep the mitzvah of Yahuwah and the witness of Adonai Yahushua. Yahuwah only has compassion on his servants. Shabbat Shalom, Mishpach. Lehitrod. See you later.